Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News live from our studio here at Adisawe in Accra. My name is Martin Asiedu-Dartey. You're listening to 3FM 92.7. Coming up this afternoon, the National Executive Committee and the National Council of the governing New Patriotic Party hold crunch meeting to discuss potential running mates for flag bearer Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. We'll be live at the meeting to give you an update of who the potential members who are going to be running as vice president for Dr. Bawumia are. Later in the bulletin, National Resolution Center remains packed with hundreds of parents and their wards as the struggle for self-placement continues. We have details of that as well and be live from the Teachers Hall in Accra. And later in the bulletin, Health Minister Kweku Agyeman-Menu assures the public that the General Hospital will be completed by October next year. Details of all these and more for the next 30 minutes. Stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. Let's settle for the details now. We are starting from the education front because the senior high school placement and the National Resolution Center is still packed with hundreds of parents and their wards racing behind time to get their children placed in second cycle institutions and vocational and technical schools. With schools commencing academic orientation from Monday, the 4th of December, parents whose wards could not be automatically placed into any of these choices will have to get their placements to catch up with their colleagues. On Tuesday, the 28th of November, the 2023 school placement was released. According to the Ministry of Education, out of the total number of 598,839 results received from the West African Examination Council, just about 585,797 candidates qualified to be placed. Let's go to the phone lines now and speak to my colleague George Quinning, who's reporting from the Teachers Hall, and we are told that a number of parents are still out there trying to figure out the situation for themselves and their wards. George, good afternoon. Thank you for your time.
Martin. Thanks for having me, Martin.
What can you report?
Martin, honestly, the numbers keep increasing day by day, and you would think that, okay, while the days go by, the numbers will be reducing, but that's not what it is. Parents keep trooping the National Resolution Center to ensure that their wards are enrolled in preferred institutions of their choice. The thing is, there are those that were not given schools at all, but there are those that, were given schools. But instead of them getting boarding houses, they were given day school. For instance, there's a woman who stays at Pram. And she was supposed to come here today. She was in traveling for close to 3 hours, got here. She wants her son to be at Laboni boarding school, but she was given Kimbu. The mother says, even if she allows that to go by, she cannot afford, transportation for the ward every day. And the boy will always be in traffic every day trying to go to school. So she wants that change. And the complaints are several. There are those who are willing to pay cash to change schools, but they are very desperate, Martin.
And have authorities come around to at least give some form of assurance to the teachers and guardians, to the parents and guardians who are there as to how they intend to help them resolve these issues?
Martin, as I think there are GES officials here who have made it known to this parents that if your ward had less than more than 14, don't think of even changing it to any grade A school. Think about maybe a TVS school or maybe a grade B school because they've made them aware. But most of them here want their wards to be in grade A school, which of course is not possible. You can't get 24 and say you want your ward to be in Wesley Girls or even John. And so some of the ambitions are you can't think about it. Some of their concerns are so it's unimaginable.
Right. So I mean, to put it simply, you mean that the concern for the parents would also have to bother on the grades that the awards got.
Exactly.
So,
yeah, if they should be realistic, there are some that should not even be here at all. Martin, you can't get 46 and say you want your son to be in Laboni, and you're not budging if it doesn't happen. some of the parents should know better,
Right.
and not even be here. And so they are just, adding up to the numbers. But there are some concerns that are legit.
Yeah.
For instance, there's somebody who stays in Eastern Region, and she she applied for Wesley Girls Boarding School, and then she was given this. She has no ties there. So obviously, you can't say that. These are some concerns that you can say are legit. But if your ward had something like 40, and you want him or her to be in a grade B school, obviously, Martin, you don't have any reason to be here at all.
Right. All right, George. Thank you so much for those updates that you've given us. George Queening is my colleague who is currently at the West Africa, I beg your pardon, he's currently at the Resolution Center, the National Resolution Center, which is here at the Teachers Hall in Accra. Primarily what's going on there is that after the election results the WAEC results were released for placement of students, a number of parents and guardians have concerns. So they have gone to this resolution center to try and resolve the concerns that they have. Unfortunately, like George just mentioned, some of the issues will be difficult to resolve because the Ghana Education Service and the WAEC officials there are saying that if the results of your ward is beyond a certain threshold, they would not be able to do anything about it in terms of either changing them from one region to the other or changing them from either from boarding to day or day to boarding, etc. So we'll see how this plays out, especially on the back of the fact that he says 2-3 days after the data center was, National Resolution Center was opened, the numbers rather keep increasing instead of going down. We'll give you details of that subsequently. This is still 3FM 92.7. Let's go on to one of our big stories that we are monitoring for you. It has to do with the vice presidential, the running mate choice for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. This afternoon, the National Executive Committee and the National Council of the New Patriotic Party are holding a crunch meeting to discuss potential running mates for flag bearer Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. The meeting is expected to examine some individuals who have been penciled as potential persons to partner Dr. Bawumia for the 2024 elections. The National Executive Committee, after its deliberations, will present its recommendation to the National Council, which will either approve or disapprove the names put forward. Let's speak to Duke. Mensa Opoku, who has been at the NPP party headquarters. Duke, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. First of all, do we know who the potential running mates are?
Okay, Martin. So I can tell you for a fact that the meeting happening here at the Lisa Hotel, and the first meeting, there are actually two meetings. First, the National Executive Committee meeting that's taking place for proposals to be firmed up before they are presented to the National Council, who will be meeting after the National Executive Committee have actually met. The names that are coming up, 4 names coming up strongly from our sources and from the background work we've done, from the people we've spoken to. We are hearing Dr. Martin Asiedu-Dartey, Minister for Energy and Member of Parliament from Asia South. We're hearing Osechi Mensah-Bonsu, Majority Leader, MP for Swami, and long-time Member of Parliament for the Swami constituency, member of the party. There is Dr. Asiedu-Dartey, MP, and Minister for Education. And then there is Joseph Osei, First Deputy Speaker, and MP for Bekwai. So these are the names so far that we are told that likely will be proposed before the National Council for deliberations to ensue for some consensus to be arrived at.
So does that mean, do we know what timelines the party executives are working with? Would it be by close of day they'll get to know who the running mate will be, or probably by end of month, end of week? What exactly is the strategy here?
There's a constitutional edict. The NDP Constitution in Article 13.3.2 says that the candidate shall choose his running mate not more than 12 months to a general election if the party is not in government or the party or the president is not contested. The second clause is where the catch is. President Akufo-Addo is not contested, which means that Dr. Bawumia has tomorrow is exactly 12 months before the next election, which is the January 7, 2024. So Dr. Bawumia effectively has, by close of day today or tomorrow, to present a name to the National Council for it to be announced publicly. Or there is a caveat there that except he pleads an exceptional circumstance before the National Council for them to give him an extension of time to look for who to partner him in the election. So it all depends on the outcome of the meeting. Strictly speaking, by the MPP constitution, he has today and tomorrow, just today and tomorrow, for that decision to be firmed up. But if he's able to convince the National Council that he has circumstances worthy of gaining an extension, a special circumstance, then that will be granted to him so that he can present running mate at a later date. Martin.
Thank you, Duke, for those updates, and certainly there are other questions of interest that would, come back to you later for. But Duke Mensah Opoku covering the meeting of the National Executive Council of the NPP and also the National Council of the party, and primarily they are deliberating on who partners Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia as a running mate going into the 2024 polls. Would update you in subsequent bulletins if we are able to glean from the list Duke mentioned who that individual will be. And, a number of considerations will be factored in. Regional balance, gender balance, maybe. They'll look at what clout the person has, how much is the person bringing in terms of numbers and quantum. We'll dissect all of that here for you, even as your election command center is also gearing up for coverage of the elections. Staying with politics, though, we go now to some results coming in, or at least Global Info Analytics has come up with its latest survey, and in the release, which focused primarily in the northern region, it says that the National Democratic Congress's flag bearer, John Dramani Mahama, will win the northern region by 55% against 37% of votes going to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia of the NPP. Alan Chemating, the leader of the Movement for Change, will receive 4% of the vote, placing him third in the poll, while 3% of voters said they had not decided who to vote for. According to the survey, voters' decisions were primarily influenced by the state of the economy, employment, education, and corruption, with 58% of the electorates believing that the nation was going in the wrong direction. Voters' top concern, according to the report of the survey, was on the economy, making 78%, jobs 70%, education 61%, and corruption 21%. Let's go to the northern region now. Speak to Christopher Mwako, our northern regional correspondent, who's joined us. Chris, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. To start with, have these surveys or these numbers come up in the public, domain, and what are they saying about it? The fact that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and John Dramani Mahama, both hailing from the northern part of the country, are contesting, but Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is likely to be second.
Yes, so Martin, if you look at the dynamics in the northern region, since 1992, the NDC has always won the region, and it has never pulled its votes below 50%. It was just in 2008 that it pulled 50.2%, but the other elections, the NDC has been able to get above 51, 52%, and that tells you that the numbers here, or the voting pattern, has always favored the NDC. And most of the residents here, or voters here, think that yes, the survey, they agree with the figures that the survey has come up with, that former President John Dramani Mahama is likely to win the polls here in the northern region, because you look at the issues that have been raised. You talk about unemployment rate, you talk about high cost of living, and other issues that do not favor the livelihoods of the people. And so they believe that yes, the survey is not far from being true because of these factors that have been raised. I engaged some of the residents. Let's take a listen to what they have been saying.
where we sit as political researchers in northern Ghana, we've realized that a lot of people are unemployed and a lot of people are looking for jobs, especially the informal sector. So basically about 70-75% of the people are into agric and agribusiness. And for that reason, we realized that the analysis that is being conducted is skewed towards the private sector. So the polls is actually something that a lot of people have attest to the fact that the things are not really going the way it's going. So John Dramani Mahama, 55% against 37% for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. It's authentic because it's very clear that the people are not happy with some of the things that are going on, especially the economic issues that has been a debate in northern Ghana. So frankly speaking, I cannot even believe it because John Dramani Mahama, the time he was in power, he promised some things for us, but he able to fulfill it. But once they are talking about Bawumia, he promised, especially we northern region, that he will do better things for us. But things are not going well for us. Even coming to buy food, my brother, it's not easy. Even now, come and look, how much is cement? How much is maize? Things are waste. Even to get money, my brother, it's difficult. Maybe sometimes you can even have your brother who can able to help. Now there's nothing going on. So you are pleading Ghanaians, they should try and come out. Let's support John Dramani Mahama to win the 2024 election so that things should move forward for us.
Right. So, Chris, clearly the people seem to be in alignment with the current survey. Are there any things that are likely to sway their minds? I mean, we still have about a year to go.
Yes, Martin, for now, with the way things are going, it appears that it's going to be the direction the people will go because it appears nothing is going to change because nothing new has been said. The vice president recently visited the regions and he has not said anything new. He has not made any new promises that the people are looking forward to. For them, the only thing that they are looking for is for the betterment of their lives, and if that is not being given them, then it means that they will have no option than to disappoint the MPP in the 2024 general elections.
Christopher Mwako, thank you for those updates from the Northern Region. He's our Northern Regional correspondent, giving us an update on what the people make of the latest survey coming from Global Info Analytics, which says that in the Northern Region, John Dramani Mahama of the NDC will win by 55% of the votes, as against that about 37% for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. But we have more than a year to go, just about a year and 1 day to December 7, 2024. We'll get to know how it plays out. Still on politics, though, we're going to the camp of the Convention People's Party, the CPP, because a National Executive Council meeting of the party, which was held in Kumasi, would have turned bloody had it not been for some intervention. Executives of the party clashed with each other following a petition presented for the removal of the chairperson and leader of the party, Nana Akosua-Frimpong Sapong Kumankuma, by the Okre constituency chairman, Kwabena Boakye. The petition accused the chairperson of misconduct, indiscipline, and for being autocratic. After arguing back and forth for several hours, the national executives of the party came to a conclusion to resign en bloc. But the chairperson remained adamant not to stand down. But the National Executive Committee insisted that all the national executives, including the chairperson, have resigned. The council has formed a 13-member interim organization committee to steer the affairs of the party and continue with the reorganization until substantive national officers are elected. Nanaya Jantwa, General Secretary of the party, is among the National Executive Committee, National Executive Council, I should say. She is a council member who has also resigned, and before that, spoke to the media.
People can do it better. So if that is what it is, I mean, in a political party, you do not hold on to things. You do not hold on to the hinges of the party. I have done what I have to do in these past 3 years, and everybody has seen what I have done. So if that is what it is, that's what it is. I'm okay. I'm a member of the Convention People's Party. My father and Kwame Nkrumah formed the party, but I am gone. And I mean, there is no qualms about it. I'm fine, I'm happy. And going into the future, everybody will know where it will be. I think I have done what I have to do. I have served my time. If my people say they do not want me, I cannot force it. I put it on record from today that I am not the General Secretary of the Convention People's Party. In due course, I am going to let everybody know where my political leanings and allegiance will be.
Right, so that is Nanaya Jantwa, who is the, well, as we can have that confirmation, immediate past General Secretary of the Convention People's Party. Ibrahim Abubakar is our Ashanti regional correspondent who was present at the meeting. He's joined us for some conversation on this. Ibrahim, good afternoon. Thank you for your time. What really happened? If you can be brief on that for us.
Well, Martin, like you rightly mentioned, yesterday's next meeting was just to reorganize the party and also look at the way forward to Congress, because they needed to elect new national executives and also the flag bearer for the 2024 general election. In the course of the meeting, someone just presented that petition that they are seeking for the removal of the chairperson and also even the general secretary, because they believe that the two are not performing and they are not even working together to ensure the affairs of the party. So they wanted them out. So, well, the chairperson says she sees nothing wrong with what she was doing, because they also accuse her of working on her own. She doesn't involve the executives when she is doing her activities. She said that is not a breach of the constituency, a constitution of CPP to even warrant any sanction, because indeed the constitution even encourages every member of the party to reorganize and mobilize people for the party. So if she is doing that solely with her own resources, there is nothing wrong with it. But then when they presented the petition, there was back and forth. We had the supporters and those who were not in support of the petition, those who were supporting it. So there were clashes. In fact, there were fights there, but the police had to intervene, like you rightly mentioned. So some of the party members decided that, well, since it's about non-performance, they will prefer that all the 9 national executives resign en bloc. Some just voluntarily decided to resign, like the youth organizer, the general secretary, Nanaya Jantwa, and other executives. But then the chairperson and her vice said, no, they are not resigning because they've not done anything wrong. That's when the NEC decided to have a vote of no confidence among them. So as we talk, they've dissolved the national executive, formed a 13-member interim committee to steer the affairs of the party, and also call for Congress. But I engaged the chairperson after the discussion, and she insists that she is still the chairperson and leader of the party.
Right. So this interim committee, do we know what timelines they are working with?
Well, they have up to June next year to call for election of the national executives and also elect their flag bearer of the party. But Martin, as we speak, a release has just come from the Council of Elders of the party. They say that signed by the Vice Chairman of the Council of Elders, Christian Ziga, and he's saying that what the NEC did yesterday was unconstitutional, and for that matter, it is null and void. But those who have voluntarily resigned at the next meeting did that purely based on their personal decision, and therefore that is valid. But for NEC to say they have stepped the chairman aside, it is unconstitutional.
Thank you very much, Ibrahim Abubakar, for that update about the confusion that broke out when the Convention People's Party decided to meet to have a conversation as to the way forward. The people seem to have different ideologies or thinking which is at variance with what the leadership of the party have. There has been an en bloc resignation of the current leadership. Would keep an eye on this and see how it plays out in subsequent bulletins for you. Still in the Ashanti region, though, two royal families are fighting over the funeral arrangements for the late paramount chief of Konongo, Nana Batafuo Echampong Inti II. One of the feuding families had arranged to hold the final funeral rites for the late chief this month, but the other family also rejected the arrangement. The atmosphere, we are told, at Konongo became quite chaotic. The palace specifically was quite chaotic when the two feuding parties clashed. Subsequent bulletins will update you on what exactly has gone on and how the leadership of the two families in Konongo intend to resolve this matter. This is 3FM 92.7. You're still listening to the Midday News, which has been live from our studio here at Adesawe in Accra. We're going on to some health-related stories now. And Health Minister Kweku Agyeman-Manu says the General Hospital will be completed by October next year, and that's in exactly 10 months from now. This will be the minister's latest assurance to the people of La as work is expected to progress at the project site. Let's listen to the minister specifically on some of the issues he raised in terms of planning, then we'll subject it to some further conversation and analysis.
Contractor is back on site. We can go and have a look at the place. I will go there next week. We expect to complete before elections next year. We're looking at between June and October. If nothing happens by October, November next year, that may be completed.
So that is the Health Minister Kweku Agyeman-Manu. Let's speak to Sarah Apenkro, who has visited the hospital site. And she's with us in studio. Sarah, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. To start with, what did you see when you went there?
There was virtually nothing happening at the site except for the security men who have constantly been positioned there to monitor the gate and ensure there is no public entry. The sand were there. You don't see excavators. You don't see the equipment. It's just the security men. There was virtually nothing happening at the site. And interestingly, usually you go around and engage with residents to find out maybe there are times of the day where people will come around, maybe check the place like officials and go back. But there was one woman who was actually in fear and panic. She was like, they have come round to warn them not to engage with any media person. They've warned her, especially she has been speaking most of the time to the media, that she should never make any remark concerning the projected gain. So I don't know why the whole thing is being shredded in secrecy, but we're expecting that. Last week the finance minister was there at the project site and said he was releasing some funds to the contractor this week. So we're expecting to see some progress happening, but that is not the case. And
we know that you caught up with the health minister. He gave you some assurances. Did he say that everything else is ready?
Exactly. So that was what prompted me going to the site, because I met him at a program and then I sought to find out the latest update on the project. And he was so confident that have I been to the site, work is going on smoothly. And he was even going to, he'll be going there, inviting the press team to come along, and said, okay, why don't we pass by and see what is happening? And we got to the site and it was
zilch, nothing. All right. Sarah Apenkro, thank you so much for your time and update on the General Hospital brouhaha. Government has given a new deadline of when it expects the work to start. We'll let you know if it actually does start. And since there's a new update of October next year being the deadline or the new date for us seeing a new hospital at the General Hospital area, we would see and start counting down from now. And that's how we bring the bulletin to an end. Thank you very much for listening. If you go to our website, 3news.com, you have updates of all the stories we've brought to you and many more. Our top stories this afternoon: National Executive Committee and the National Council of the New Patriotic Party are still in a crunch meeting to discuss potential running mates for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Also, we went to the National Resolution Center here in Accra, which remains packed with hundreds of parents and their wards who are struggling to get self-placement into senior high schools. And you got the latest information about the health minister, who is assuring that the La General Hospital will be completed by October 2024. My name is Martin Asiedu-Dartey. This has been the Midday News. Menu Afol brings you the latest in the world of business. Bye for now.
.7 3 FM, your urban lifestyle radio.
It's time now for Business Daily. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to today's edition. Coming up this afternoon, economist Dr. Asiedu-Dartey asserts Ghana's economy is worse off a year on after government's implementation of the domestic debt exchange program.
I don't really see the country benefiting so much from the DDEP program of the government. I think, or I would say that we are worse off.
Also, Institute for Fiscal Studies urges government to pursue debt cancellation to allow some fiscal space for economic recovery.
The debt restructuring program is good. At least it has given us a short-term breathing space. But the debt cancellation will give us a longer-term breathing space.
Plus, Bank of Ghana temporarily suspends ECD implementation in 2024 due to economic challenges and uncertainties.
Unfortunately, we don't think that it will be available for payments in 2024 because we really need to focus on stabilizing the economy.
My name is Menu Afol. We have the details of these stories and many more lined up for you. Stay with us. Thank you so much for your time. Straight to our first story. Economist with Louisiana Economic Development in the USA, Dr. Asiedu-Dartey, has criticized government's domestic debt exchange program, saying Ghana's economy is worse off a year on after its implementation. In an interview with 3 Business, he said the needed benefits to Ghana's local economy has not been realized. Instead, banks have been crippled and growth stifled.
A lot of these banks are still suffering from the impact of DDEP without any government support coming in place. And how do you grow your economy? Even with all the growth targets government set for itself through the IMF negotiations and all that, how will government be able to achieve that without boosting these banks, without actually supporting these banks? It has actually crippled our banking sector, created so much losses for these our banks that we have, and also made them impossible to even loan out to small-scale businesses. Right now, businesses are on the brink of collapse because they are not able to access credit facilities. So all in all, I don't really see the country benefiting so much from the DDEP program of the government. I think, or I would say that we are worse off.
Dr. Asiedu-Dartey is an economist with Louisiana Economic Development in the USA. Away from that, the Institute for Fiscal Studies is urging the government to pursue debt cancellation to create enough fiscal space for economic recovery. This call comes as Ghana is still in the process of reaching an agreement with its external creditors to secure the second tranche of the IMF bailout program. At a 2024 post-budget forum organized by the IFS, Dr. Asiedu-Dartey, the lead researcher at the institute, highlighted the debt forgiveness Ghana received during its HIPC days as a prime example of the benefits that could arise from such a move.
The debt restructuring program is good. At least it has given us a short-term breathing space. But the debt cancellation will give us a longer-term breathing space for us to begin to be able to fix our fiscal problem. We are so tight that the reliefs coming from the debt restructuring is not enough. So if we can, we should need debt cancellations so that at least you are not owing the part of the council, you are not owing it anymore. And you have that breathing space to begin to put together. Even that will not be the solution to your problem. Because in the 2000s, when we canceled that, we had got very big fiscal space. We blew it up through poor expenditure management. So we need a breathing space. But what we need on long-term basis is effective expenditure management. Of course, in addition to more revenue generation.
Lead researcher at the Institute for Fiscal Studies, Dr. Asiedu-Dartey there. Also, Bank of Ghana says it has temporarily suspended the implementation of ECD in 2024 due to the current economic challenges. Recently, the central bank engaged the fintech community to explore use cases for the digital currency through a 12-week hackathon. But according to Governor Dr. Ernest Addison, even though the implementation of the hackathon has been successful and 10 winners are set to be announced before the end of December 2023, the digital currency will not be sanctioned for transaction next year due to instability in the economy.
There is currently an ECD hackathon which has gone on. The innovators in the fintech community who have been competing on the use cases for the CD, developing all kinds of products which would be facilitated by ECD, person-to-person payments and merchandise payments and government payments. And here it's been a very keen competition with over 88 entries. And now we have had the 88 entries whittled down to the first 10. Those 10 successful winners would be announced in December, I believe December 14th. We will see the innovators in the fintech industry using the ECD. Unfortunately, we don't think that it will be available for payments in 2024 because we really need to focus on stabilizing the economy and bringing in the ECD at a time when the economy is very stable. Otherwise, we would really defeat the whole purpose of the exercise. But in the interim, we are looking at the use cases and in a sense, providing a stronger rationale for the digitization of the Ghanaian currency.
That was Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison there. Away from that, government has reaffirmed its dedication to fostering a resilient internet experience, according to the sector minister, Esla Owusu-Ekufo. This commitment underscores the importance of a robust digital infrastructure in an era marked by technological advancements and evolving cyber threats. She believes this will promote innovation and improved connectivity in the country.
In our efforts towards building a resilient online experience for us all, let's keep in mind that cybersecurity is both a technical and a societal concern. It is about defending our way of life in a world that's becoming increasingly interconnected. And I'm looking forward to witnessing the impact of the Accra Core, our collective efforts in enhancing cyber capacity globally.
Esla Owusu-Ekufo is Minister of Communications and Digitalization. That is all for Business Daily this afternoon. My name is Menuafo. Log on to www.3news.com for more of these stories. Do stay tuned. Black Rasta will soon join in with Urban Blend.